In this video, we continue the work in the bird journal. Hello, welcome to Nixies Notebooks. I'm your host, and today we're going to continue work in the bird journal. This was the insert that I made last video for the bird journal, and I did not, there was some parts I still wanted to complete on it, but that video was getting a little bit cumbersome and I needed to step away a little bit from it. So this is a nice thick sticker that I got. I don't remember where I got it, but they're really thick, and I thought it would look really cool kind of having the owl like onto the waves of the washi tape, so that's kind of why I did that. I do a little bit more on this insert. I think it's later on in the video though. There was a couple things that I forgot to do in the last video, so and there again, that's just kind of a quick reminder of what we did with that one. So I have another page here, and basically it is going to go right in there. I'm going to ink up all the edges. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm just going to ink up the edges, give it kind of an oldie kind of look, because the map on the other side really does look kind of oldish, so I wanted to kind of give it that look. So I go around the edges, I do it actually on the paper as well. I think I use gathered twigs for this one. And because you see, so you can see the brown there where I kind of used my my mat as like a kind of a way to pull off excess ink so it didn't make the circles as badly. I should get one of those brushes, but I just haven't spent the money on it yet. So I decided to reinforce this. If you watch any of my videos, you know I have problems with, I'm afraid the thinner papers, especially if they've been folded a lot, are gonna just have some issues, and I don't want them to rip on the person who's using the journal. So here I'm just using some it's just a book page. I ripped the edges up to give it kind of that just nice feel. I always think the book pages look great in the background. I did ink around the edges of that book page, and I did glue it down in that position. I cut it out by accident. I wasn't trying to cut it out, but that did happen, so I apologize for that. And here I'm just looking for different birds. I love this book. This book is great. It's got some beautiful drawings of some birds, so I'm trying to use them. I hate it though because there's a bird on each side of the page, so I'm like, I hate to use it. And then I decided, my fear with this one was that it was too yellow. Everything looked too yellow and brown. So I put it away, and then I grabbed another one. This blue one. I thought the blue and yellow one would look good. And here I'm just measuring. I'm just making sure that those two birds will fit in there. So I'm just going to fussy cut around the birds. Again, they're absolutely beautiful drawings in this book. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So I kind of was debating throughout this whether or not I wanted to put those birds on that side as well. My intention was only to, my intention, as you'll see, well, okay, as you'll see, I kind of change things around and I make two collages. My intention was only really to make one collage on one side, and as you'll see, it just kind of got away from me there a little bit, so, but it came out looking really good, I think, personally, so. But that's just me. I'm a little partial. Sometimes I'll layer on other pieces of paper on top of each other. It just kind of gives it a nice little effect. I like to rip the edges. I don't have a ripping ruler, I just rip myself. So there's that. I am cutting, I kind of making sure that there's really no points where I fussy cut around so it doesn't look really weird. I probably should have used smaller scissors to fussy cut around it, but I use big scissors for some reason. And while I'm doing this, I realized I don't like the way, so the bluebird was, there's a lot of bluebird up against that, up against the edge of the paper, and I didn't want him to kind of get lost when you turn the page and he's tucked down inside more of the page, if that makes sense, like closer to the binding. I didn't want him to get lost, so I decided I was going to use this bird again, and I was going to put it on this side. And grab some nice yellow paper. I thought it would match one of these pretty well. I don't remember exactly what I do, so it'll be a surprise to both of us. I think I leave it behind that bird. I think I ink the edges and leave it behind that bird. And then I'm looking for, so it's just they're washi stickers. And I thought it'd be nice for me to put a little picture of something back there. I want it to be a little bit colorful. And there goes Miss Nixie, who decided that she is going to walk across there because she can. I used my wrong puncher. I did throw that one away because that one's just awful. I think I had to stop because she was doing something over there. I've tried to use the whole, what do you call it, the tweezers and stuff, but I don't know how people do that. It just messes me up. I get stuff everywhere. I rip more of the edges of the paper off of here, just kind of just trim it up a little bit. Yep, and then put a word or something down there. I forget what word I used. So ink up all the edges. Even though that's tea dyed, I am still inking up the edges. Just kind of keep everything a little more uniform. It actually came out looking pretty good with the inked edges. I don't know why I switched to the fabric tack. Oh, I know why, because the paper itself was really wrinkly and I was kind of concerned that would cause problems, so. It does take a few seconds for the fabric tack to dry, so. I wanted to add some color, just a little pop somewhere, so I added this bright, well, it's not bright, it's like a maroony red. I just put them behind the bird because I thought that'd be kind of cool. I didn't glue down the full amount of the ribbon. I just glued down part of it, so you can still kind of move it. So it's like interactive is probably not their best word for that, but you get the idea. And because I used the ribbon, that's why I used the fabric tack, and that's why I'm using the fabric tack on the bird as well. I'm just going around making sure that everything is glued down well. I am not going to sew this side. I don't know if I made that decision at this point or before that or after that, but spoiler alert, I don't sew that side. Okay, so now I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit, so I kind of go back to this part of the journal. I had made that cluster last time I did the my last video. I believe I made the cluster for this page actually, so because the cluster is a little uneven, I wanted to make sure I put it down with fabric tack as well. thought the little cluster would be pretty on that page. And I think the fabric tack will work better on the shiny pages of that piece of paper, so. Apparently I waited a long time to make sure that thing is dry. Sorry about that. There we go. You know, I always try to make sure that everything's glued down well so nothing comes apart. I'd hate for something to come apart on someone. So I was going to do the bird up in the air, but I felt it would be better if it was touching the cluster a little bit. Kind of keep it in line. I don't know why, I just felt it would look better that way. I use way too much of the fabric tack. I just thought it would look better if it touched the cluster. Wait, so I'm gonna put this, what am I doing? Oh. I think this says Flight of Fancy. Yes, it does. And I decided I was feeling like it really needed something else. So I really wanted to make sure. Or maybe I changed my mind. I don't know. I really like the way that came out. It came out really cute. Apparently I'm talking about something and I'm not quite sure what I'm talking about there. I kind of always double check, you know, as I put in pages into the signatures before I bind them. I just kind of want to look and see how everything's looking, how it feels. You know, make sure there's nothing that, like, when you turn a page, like 3 pages get caught up with some string or something that you have in there. So I do that. So you will see me go through and do that a lot. So I'm gonna take a little plant washi. I don't know if I did this or not. Now I'm thinking I might not have done this. Might have changed my mind. Well, I got up, so I did change my mind. I'm probably looking for something in my office. So I thought I cut all these out. I was looking for my reel. So I'm not too concerned with people thinking that both these will look the same because, and this is my rationale, is because they're not going to be next to each other in the book. So and again, I go back to using the piece of paper. I find it's just a great background. It really is. And like I said, I don't have any rulers, any ripping rulers or anything, so I just rip it myself. And then I ink the edges, of course. Everything else is inked. I try to kind of do that where I can, or when I think about it, ink all the edges up. It does take forever though. And I'll put the words upside down so that way it's not like, okay, I'm trying to read the words that are being put down. Like, I don't want that to be the focus. All these book pages are really brittle, so it's good that I'm putting them in a book and gluing them down because they can't really be used for much else. So I got a bunch of books like that. And before people get upset when I take apart books or old books, just because it's old doesn't mean it's valuable, unfortunately. So usually if it's something I've heard of or something that I think might be needs to be saved, I will always look on eBay, see if there's a ton of copies. I'm not worried about it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm inking up a stamp to put on the yellow, to stamp onto the yellow piece of paper. I think it's just small typed words again. I find those bigger stamps, I find it's easier if I just kind of lay it down and then I put the piece of paper on top of it. Most of them are just more for backgrounds and stuff, so I'm not really all that worried. I do wash them off with a baby wipe because they got lanolin in them, so those are good. And I try to keep them all together and with their little plastics around them in bags and stuff to kind of keep them preserved-ish. And do I not put that leaves in there? Okay, I think I changed my mind. I don't even remember now. So the edges are really, they're really kind of cut up, or they're really kind of, like, what do you call it? They're like falling apart a little bit. So I tried to make it look like that when I cut the edges of that piece of fabric. I tried to make them look all ratty. I don't know if you could really see that, so. Yep, there we go, here we go. I'm just trying to pull out some of the pieces just so it looks a little ratty, because the smooth edge didn't look right. There we go. Put that down. Put that up there. I really don't. I glue it down okay, but you'll see in a minute why I don't. I end up sewing, so it really doesn't matter. So I'm making a tab with this little yellow piece of paper, and what I decided to do, I saw this on another channel, and I don't remember which one it was, but she made a whole bunch of tabs with buttons on them, and what are these things called? What do you call those things? Brads. Just kind of looking through and trying to figure out what color. I think I ended up with a blue to kind of go with the bird. So I had some yellow and some blue on the page. And yeah, there we go. That's what I was talking about. I tried to make it look like the edges were kind of icky or whatever. So I'm trying to make a hole for the brad to go through. I'm only going to put it through one piece of the fabric, which is right there. I used the needle and the thread. Made it a lot easier to make the hole for the brad, especially with that fabric. And I am struggling with it, I guess. I don't know. I can't see. So when I record, there's like a little box over half the, when I do a voiceover, there's like a box over half the video, so I can't see sometimes what I'm doing. So this is where I decide I'm gonna just, you know, I didn't really use a lot of glue, so I'm just gonna sew around it. I think I decided that this time. I'm not sure. We'll find out. So there we go. I sewed around the edges there. I sewed the tab down as well. I just did a bunch of little circles. I thought it'd be pretty. And I'm just tying knots in it now. I just kind of come back to where I was. But I think the blue stitching really kind of looks nice on the bird. And I got everything down so nothing is going to come up or out. So that's nice. And that's it. That's what I did there. There's still more. There's still more to the video though. So I just can't remember where I was trying to put it or where I was going to put it. I figure right there. There we go. I think the last page in here is this gray piece of paper. I said I'm gonna put a tab here too, so I like that little black and white fabric. But I needed something to go on the inside. I just glued down a piece of paper. You can see I didn't, I glued it really well, but I didn't do any, what do you call it? I didn't ink up the edges. I didn't feel I needed to on this one. It's tea-dyed, and it's just kind of cute little piece of paper with some lines on it. I actually found these stickers at an estate sale. I never thought I'd ever use them, but they're really cute. They're like different birds and stuff. You'll see it's a little birdhouse right there. It came out really cute looking. So I had to put a button at the top. Just, you know, give it some blings. It's not really bling, it's just more of a button, but you get the idea. And now I need to look for a button. I am gonna say when you do these tabs, if you sew the button or you put the what do you call it, the brad in first, be very careful if you want to sew the tab down, because then the sewing machine kind of has a hard time running over it, and I did kind of run into a problem with that a little bit. So when I do slow stitch sewing like this, I do use like 4 threads at a time. How do I do it? I double it up twice, and then I use that. It just makes the sewing go so much quicker, and I don't have to do it as much. I don't have to do as many stitches. So this one, the stitching on the slow stitching on the back will not show. It'll be covered by the other side of the tag. So I do try to keep like so the thread. I don't know if I said this. I might have said this. I don't remember. I do try to keep the thread with some. I try to keep the needle with some thread. So, and here we go. Here's the book. There we go. I think it came out kind of cute. I'm kind of excited for it. So, still have a few more signatures to go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.